Thank you, Jake. We appreciate that. Welcome, everyone, back to Season 3, Episode 8 of JV Speaks. We are very excited about this episode, talking about the JV experience. This is highly anticipated. I know this is something we've been really looking forward to diving into and giving a little bit, peeking behind the scenes of what we feel like our biggest differentiating factor is, right? And so just kind of jump right into it. Guys, what is the JV experience? It's all over our website. It's kind of our big sales point.
Yeah.
What makes us different? In your mind, what is the JV experience?
I mean, it's being asked to go 1 mile, but then going 2. Shout out Jesus.
Yeah. I think for us, we are just like any business, there's why do you go to one coffee shop or the other? Why do you go to one restaurant, et cetera, right? Yeah. Why would someone choose JV over another video company that is, makes really good videos, makes really good content, right? And I truly think it stems from the founders of JV Studios being John and I were brothers. So like there's already that bond of trust and care. It's family. Right. And then it's kind of got to a point where it's kind of become a differentiator that, people look at it and it's beyond just the ask. It's going above and beyond for the client. It's providing an experience so that when they email us that next day, we get that like, wow, this didn't even feel like work. And I think it's the excitement that we bring. It's the care. Yeah. It's the fun, and it's the can-do attitude, and it's contagious. And I feel like when people are on set with us, or they even are working with us in the office, you get that breath of fresh air. And I think it's also like seeing our team for who they are and treating everyone, equal with respect, but also like holding people to a high standard.
Yeah. And authenticity, like you can't fake it. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of things you can fake it till you make it. You can't fake like being real. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you just, the famous line there, be yourself, everyone else is taken. You just do you bring what you bring to the table, and you take care of people, and treat them like family.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. A big phrase that you guys use, right, is we moving mountains, right? That's JV's motto, right? We deliver the JV experience. We do that by moving mountains, right? For our clients, they're going to get this killer experience, and no request is, off the table, right? Right. Talk a little bit about, moving mountains, why you do that, and just how you've just become comfortable doing that over the years.
Yeah, I mean, no request is too big or too small. Like if a client has a vision, they're coming to us, they're looking to us to make it happen. I mean, we were talking yesterday, and I'm kind of drawing a blank on it right now, about the situation where, someone came up to us and they needed something, and we just made it happen, Well, actually, I remember Chef Ballers, our main talent was having a hard time, and like she needed to get grounded. Yeah. And there's at certain times, like I can be that person that helps. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's you, sometimes anyone on our team can deliver this JV experience, right? For this specific one, our talent, we are just about to start filming, and she couldn't get grounded. So I remember I went to a private space with her, and we dropped into a meditation, and we took some really deep breaths. I think she had a lot of anxiety. She was traveling a lot, and she came out of that room with a ball of energy. And I remember the director, our creative director, came to me, and he's like, "What happened in there?" And it was like, we took a moment, And I think that is going that extra mile to make that production happen. Like it needed to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think like that to me feels like a very Johnny thing. Like, yeah, that's like the JV experience at the top of the mountain. Like, but not every experience needs to be like that. I think it's also the little gestures. Like, for example, we had a client that loved her little sparkling yerba mate.
Oh yeah.
And so every time on set, what did we have? Here's your little can. And to see her walk around, can, slam it, she's energized.
Yeah, you gave her 3 that one day.
Yeah. But it's those little details. It's the attention to detail. It's separating, being this professional business on the outside, whether it's your website, your processes, and then like you get on set and you're like, oh wait, like you guys are super professional, but you're also like laid back and fun. And like, how? Because I feel like we hear a lot of stories where, people are tight and they're very to the minute, like, oh, nope, that wasn't in scope, or hey, this guy has to leave. Where I think, we're human. I think we make our clients, we make our contractors, we make our team feel like one of us. We're huggers. We go up, we help people out if they need, if we see someone from our team, I'll specifically shout out Brittany, who's like one of, she's probably our favorite prop stylist, right?
Yeah.
We had a big shoot in December where, she had a huge U-Haul of all this furniture. We're not the crew that's going to let her struggle and just say, oh, figure it out. That's your role. I'm a gaffer. I don't touch props. Our whole team. I mean, we had, and shout out to Joey and Art or I think Ricky too.
Yeah.
They carried this couch.
I jumped in a little bit.
Right. Going up and down, but like
end.
to the point where it was like, hey guys, can we all take a minute to just stop what we're doing to help another team member? Because just wasn't capable. You got heavy lifting. We had to literally forklift the couch up a huge psych wall and into a stairwell. Like it did not fit in an elevator. So it's like the team aspect of like, we're all on the same team. We're all looking out for each other. And it's like, it's the genuine, authentic respect of like, there's zero ego on the crew.
Yeah. I mean, you would treat Brittany like you'd treat like your sister, right? Like, you're not like, and I remember she was leaving. She's like, wow, I got to do all this. And it was like, everyone's wrapped. And I remember one of our guys, he had surgery. So he was like, hey, listen, this is hard for me. And instead of, we kind of asked around, and I know Ricky was like, I'll help. And Ricky went out of his way, probably 20 minutes out of his direction from his house, leaving like the end of the crew hanging out to go and help Brittany. And that is the JV experience, on a crew level. But like everyone has their touches. And I think we like to bring in the people that understand, like, I mean, we all have gifts, right? And I think good leaders can help people understand and see the value that they bring. Even you that shoot, you pulled in a JV experience at the end. You made something happen. Do you remember it? The crew was
A couple cold ones.
You made that happen. Yeah. You pulled those out of thin air.
Oh yeah.
For the crew, and how I mean, we all were working hard, and all of a sudden, like against all odds, couple bucks here, Timmy comes out with a 12-pack. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's that breaking that norm. It's breaking that status quo of what it should be. And yeah, there are probably some crews that run super tight ship. Director does not talk to a PA. This is who you are. Stay in your lane. And there are shoots where we need to kind of, we know when we need to pull in and be tight. But I think it's more our culture. It's the JV, it's experience, it's culture. And it's also like leveling even on the client side of, when we have an initial call, getting on that text basis with a client, getting on, where you can just, if they call you because they need something, like you're becoming, outside that. And within reason, healthy boundaries are always important. But I think for us, it's like, we can be friends with everyone. We can be successful, and we can be nice people. And I think that's helped us, shape kind of why people want to continue working with us, whether it's client side or contractor side.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's very clear, right? Just to summarize the two aspects of the JV experience, right? There's the client side, which I think I do want to get into a little bit more, but we kind of pivoted to that, the crew side, right? And so I know, Vince, you've been on sets before where it's not fun. Everyone's, buttoned up and whatever. So, let's talk a little bit about, the crew side, what we do differently, expand on that a little bit more, but more importantly, how that translates to the, how the crew doing better translates to a better experience for the client before we talk into like, moving mountains for the client. So
Love it.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially like I kind of stepped into the director role for JV. So I feel like being a director, you're pretty much leading every aspect of the production, whether it's the DP, you're telling, the DP to talk to the gaffer, you're working with you're touching every aspect of it. And I think a good leader, can step back, vocalize what they need done. But like, I think for me, I love to level with everyone, to let them know, hey, if you need something, I'm here, I can help you. And I think another thing I really leaned into was like, I will never forget when we did it's like a new boat series.
Yeah.
We were filming some shots. We had a complete storyboard. We had a complete shot list. And I'll never forget the main talent. He was like a secondary talent. We cut camera. He pulls me to the side. He's like, hey, I got a quick question. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I have this really cool idea, like maybe we could, like how we could end it, right? And how we can, you know, get a cool shot. Like he was being called to share this with me. And I've been on those sets where it's like, sorry, bud, not in the shot list. We're not doing that. And I think for me, I was like, oh my God, I actually love that idea. Let's just film it. And if we use it, great. If not, we don't. And it ended up being like the button after the logo came in. So I think it's like being receptive to, it's not, my way may not always be the best. You know, I think going into it, I have a great game plan and a blueprint, but I feel like the more I, going back to a few episodes, can listen and not be closed-minded. Maybe a PA has a cool idea. Maybe the audio op says something, right? Instead of being like, nope, and like being closed to everything and nope, it's my way or the highway. I'm the director. This is my shoot. I don't feel like I have that territorial energy where I have been on sets and I got turned off. And that's why I kind of stopped. You know, we're at a point where, you know, JV's pretty busy where, you know, I kind of don't work with other crews, not because I don't want to, just because we're building our own team. But I'm very selective if someone wants to bring, you know, me out as a one-off camera operator or that, because I want to make sure this is going to be the right jibe. And so I think, you know, for freelancers starting out, the more you can work with a bunch of different crews, get a taste of it all and figure out what you like and what feels more like you, because then you will attract that community and those people will look out. And I feel like I've been blessed to work with people that I knew were not my fit, and I went completely 180 the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes you a good director, man. Like, I've seen you grow over the years, you know, just being open and listening to people.
Yeah. And again, I think everyone has amazing ideas. And sometimes I feel like we encourage people to speak up. Now there's a time and a place, not in the middle of a take when we're doing something there. You know, if we're taking a break and in the crafty area, like, and you having a quick idea, I'm going to hear you out. But, you know, again, it's having healthy boundaries, open the space. And I think tying into the JV experience is like the collective energy. It's the team huddle before a big shoot. Yeah. It's the Johnny icebreakers of give us a name, role, and fun fact. I think one of my favorite ones was, if you were a type of bread, what would you be? And the amount, like, it's just, you catch people off guard.
Yeah.
And what were you? I was focaccia.
I was sourdough.
What would you be, Timmy?
Catch me off guard. You're right. I don't know.
A croissant.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, like, your side is that, my side, that huddle is something that, like, I fought for a little bit.
I remember, I mean, feel free to share that time. I kind of pressed you on it because I felt overwhelmed, but you're like, I never realized how important it was for Johnny to have this huddle on a shoot that I felt pressed, like we need to get started. Yeah. And now looking back, you'll always get your huddle.
Give me a hug, dude. It's all good. I mean, no, the importance of that huddle, it is a moment of just coming together. You know, sometimes people know each other, but in the beginning they didn't, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's a moment where everyone who's involved that's available comes around and we all huddle up. And, you know, what I love to do is just introduce, you know, hey, everyone, thank you so much for being here. You know, we kind of get into it and then we just go around, we introduce ourselves just like you would if, you know, around family, right? I'm going to introduce myself, my role here today, so that everyone knows what are you here for, you know? What can I lean on you for? Hold you accountable. And then there's typically, and if someone else is producing and like, I'll say like, you know, or like, hey, like, what do you think of come up with something. So sometimes it's your favorite ice cream. So I can't give them all away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can't give them all away. But that huddle, it is a moment for everyone to stop, be acknowledged, be seen. And it just builds like this container. And honestly, I don't like for you to say action without that synergy, because it's like, it brings everyone together, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're spending the day, you know, like we've had some shoots, like I was thinking like when we did agency therapy, like that was probably up to 20 people on set.
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
I know everyone from the crew. You guys know everyone. Contractors know everyone. We had about 8 talent. No one knew each other. Obviously their talent, they're like, hey, how's it going? But it's like, that is the time to, you know, you just see the people that maybe have a little nerves. Everything gets a little calm. It's like, hey, let's take a step back before we get into this crazy day. Let's all collectively get on the same page. let's crack a little joke. And then it's like immediately now from a talent perspective, you're getting that raw, like, all right, they're comfortable. They're on a set that feels like they're seen.
Right.
You know, even the last one we did, it was, a grandmother and her granddaughter. The granddaughter wasn't talent, and we ended up knowing her because she was talent, but like it was an ironic connection. But she was just there because she worked with us before.
Yeah.
And guess what? We had her call JV on 3.
Yeah.
She wasn't, needed on set. Obviously, we wanted her because we had a little director's chair, and her grandma was the main talent this time. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
But those little touches of her, and cracking jokes, and yeah, we do repeat some words, but I think the basis of the JV experience is that euphoric feeling of man, this doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And if it does, we're doing something wrong.
And then also too, the synchronicities of like these fun facts, like you may not know, like these facts that these people on hold. We had someone that was the backup dancer for Prince.
A mom
was the backup dancer of Prince.
Yeah.
And then like someone else had something. And so guess what? During lunchtime or during these downtimes, it's like, oh, cool. Like, so you did that, huh? Like, I love Prince. And now you're creating community. People are talking,
And you find relatability. I mean, Timmy, throw us the one we had that meeting in Chicago. That was our first time we knew that about you, and we've known you our whole life. Remember it?
My fun fact?
Yeah.
My fun fact, I've never had Taco Bell.
To this day.
Yeah, to this day.
Wow.
Not that I have anything against Taco Bell. I have nothing against it. I was in college at one point in the drive-through. Was going to order it, and just kind of looked at myself. I'm just like, I don't really need this. And it's kind of just going to keep this never had Taco Bell thing rolling. So I have an easy fun fact. And here we are,
yeah,
over 30 years old, never having
Voice
Taco
of God
Bell. So.
Jake's giving us that look. I think it's time to get him some T-Bow. What do you think? So, but I think, yeah, Jake, come on in.
You've never experienced the joy of a chalupa.
I've never had a chalupa, no.
Crunch Wrap Supreme.
Yep.
Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
No.
Cinnamon Twist. Baja
fact.
Blast.
Yeah.
Nachos.
So,
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for
Thank you, Jake.
you.
Thank you.
Shout out T-Bell.
Yeah.
yeah.
But again, like even that, that is a pure example of how you immediately broke the ice for people that, obviously we know Jake, but Tim, you kind of just met him, but like you find a relatability outside of the job we're all on. And now immediately it feels just,
You're jiving.
There's a connection.
Yeah.
You have an extra layer of comfort. So if you're saying, hey, you'll feel comfortable being like, yo, if that light is off a little bit, you'll say, hey, man, like, could you switch that? And that's how that relates to the end product that the client gets, right? Is your whole team understands that we're all on the same page and all here to accomplish one thing.
Yeah.
And that's deliver the best experience possible to the client. So kind of want to pivot now from like the crew experience in Alone Is itself, right? We are very, very conscious of our crews, having a great experience. Right. Fill out your surveys. But
we love you guys.
Yeah. With that being said, it's all with the end goal, right? Of providing a better value to the client. And we feel like having an awesome, strong crew delivering with this cohesiveness provides that better outcome. So I kind of want to pivot now, into that half, from that half of it into, specific moving mountain experiences. And I can think of a handful off the top of my head, but I want to hear what you guys have.
Yeah.
I might probe you, Johnny, on this one specific experience, looking for a boat, lost a boat in one of our shoots. Tell us a little bit about, how that needed, that client needed this product to feature in the video and what you did to make it happen.
Yeah. And I'm happy that you reminded me of that because that's, sometimes these things just come so natural. I am a natural creative problem solver, So for me in that example, the client has spent some money on this day of production. If we were to have to redo it, it's going to cost everyone time and money. Mm-hmm. And so we were not able to get this boat. I believe it was the
client lost this, didn't get it, right? It wasn't anything JV did. It was the client said, hey, this boat model, we weren't able to secure it.
Yeah.
But we really want to shoot it. What do you think we can do?
Yeah. And so I remember in that moment, it's like, forget it. Like let's settle. It's like, no, we are on a lake right now. There are boats everywhere. All we have to do is just go the extra mile. And so I remember I said, I'll be right back. And I just walked down the shore, going through people's backyards, which is probably not like super great to do, but I came like
respectful about it.
Yeah. Like I wasn't like a threat, it's a couple waves, And I remember I just house to house. And then I found this boat and I said, listen, we're shooting a commercial and I need this boat. Are you interested? Next thing you know, we're rolling over with the boat, you know, like, and we made it happen, you know, and it made the shoot. Like we needed it.
Yeah. And I think some people would feel like, that's that I didn't sign up for this, or like, sorry, like you're not paying me to do that. This is on you, client. You didn't get the boat. We are hired to capture only. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like, hey, it's all right to bend and do things that you, just because it's not in the line of scope that you pitch, it's all right. That's that going an extra mile. But I think something that we do really well, and I feel like it came from you two guys and our mom who was on full time with us, does all our books, is like the good listening. Again, we keep bringing it up, but like, you know, holidays come around, right? We send all our clients holiday cards. Yeah. And that's a big push you guys do. Like that soft touch.
I love it.
You're not sending them a holiday card saying, hey, like, we're ready when you are. It's literally just like, hey, here's some BTS of JV had a great year. Have a happy holiday. There's zero like, let's set up a call and talk. Now, obviously, there's initiatives that Q1 come in and hey, love to reopen combos, but like just a simple gesture of like, hey, this is just like being a good person, being a human, but also like little things. Like I remember we had a client, we went to Kentucky, you know, right before Christmas.
I was gonna say,
and I had this call. I got a shout out, brother-in-law. Yeah, he you know,
not a crumble cookie, but
too much sugar in those. Yeah, it's going that extra mile of like, yeah, it may cost a little money, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's that like relatability of, hey, it's holidays. We both traveled before Christmas. You know, I'll never forget. I called mom and I was like, can we send her, you know, some pears, like a little nut thing, you know, like something on those websites where it sends it. It's like the organic pear box. Yeah. And again, you know, you're not even touching. It's just those little gestures of like, just, hey, appreciate the business. There's no intention of like, you need to hire us again. It's just like, that was fun. And those little things, I feel like you guys started that really big this year of like, incentive, like, you know, like just being giving.
Well, it's doing something and not expecting any praise or anything back. You know, it's just giving with your full heart. I mean, what coffee was our client that we were talking to today drinking?
The coffee we got her.
The coffee that we just got her, you know, and it wasn't for anything. Yeah. But like, I know deep in our, you know, our Italian roots, you know, it's like, never show up empty-handed. Yep. I know when we came here, what did I have for you there, Jake? Besides the sandwiches,
'twas a candle.
Yeah. Wow. A little candle. You know.
Christy loved it. My wife. Shout out to Mrs. Seaton.
Hey,
thanks for letting us borrow Jake there. But yeah, it's those little things that like it shouldn't be like forced. Yeah, it's not forced. You know, it's like. And I know you too. I mean, you're a huge giver. I mean, look at yesterday. Like my wife was struggling a little bit we weren't able to get milk from the farm. I know you gave us the other half of your gallon.
Good. Yeah.
You know, and that's now my little guy's having milk. Like that goes a long way.
Of course, dude.
Give. You know,
I think it comes back tenfold. And I think what we heard yesterday when we went out to dinner is like, not everything needs to be transactional. Yeah. It's relationships will push you so much farther than chasing the money, and just again seeing people who they are, and just anytime. Even my wife, I mean, she like when it comes to Christmas, I'm always like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what to get people. I'm not buying anyone anything. She will the entire year have a note on her phone. Wow. And like will say something that she heard that I wanted in February.
That's skill.
And it's just like, she builds it up. And then maybe I stopped talking about it in July. So it's like, oh, I don't know if he really wanted it. And then like ends up giving like the best gifts.
She is a great gift giver.
Yeah. And a lot of it usually ends up being homemade stuff.
That's awesome.
She's listening.
But yeah. So I think that is like this full circle of like JV. I mean, it's just being real. It's not having this phoniness to it. And, you know, this attitude of like, well, if you can't, like, I don't want to do work with you because you're not a client, or like, you know, like there's those relationships where all people see is like, what can you do for me? And I just think those people get weeded out with time.
Yeah. We definitely, one thing I think it's, you know, that you guys do naturally is just, you're comfortable being uncomfortable, like going the extra mile, doing something like you said, maybe we're not, that's not the scope of the project, but it's not anything that's going to cost us more, going to be, it's just going to be a little uncomfortable. But if it's going to result in a better product, we're going to do it. I mean, even the randomest thing where we have this, this commercial shoot coming up who wants a specific band and a specific song, who doesn't license the song
That was
often.
that was your mountain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we had worked the connection, found a former coworkers, husbands, cousins, spouse is the guitarist of this band, right?
Yeah.
So getting that connection, sending multiple emails, right? Because they don't respond immediately. Getting on the phone and having a Zoom meeting with the band manager, kind of giving them the pitch and saying, hey, this is what we want to do. Do we kind of have a soft approval to kind of proceed forward before we go with the licensing? And, kind of giving that, this is something we can build a creative idea around.
Yeah.
Obviously, we need to get the formal approval later down the road, but just doing that.
And the thing is, it's like that was something that we're still even figuring out the scope of that project, and we know we're going to do work, but like we haven't really put a dollar value to like what this project's going to cost. So like we're not even we're just doing this out of will of just knowing that we want to tell our client when we have that conversation, hey, we did already talk to that and we do have it in. And it's like, oh my God.
Well, I remember we were on the drive home and we were all cruising after we figured out that I love snacks, and we were laughing a lot. It was pretty funny. But I remember,
I was slapping the door.
you just it was just you were having a conversation with our client, and he just mentioned,
Right.
didn't say, hey Tim, I'm going to pay you to do this, and so that's that listening. I mean, that's really coming full circle. It's listening, and then you didn't even get asked to go a mile, and you went 5 because that was a feat. I remember I tried, and I was like, not my wheelhouse, and you didn't even talk to us. You just kept going and finding it until you had the call.
Yeah.
That was a big call too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a low call.
It took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon you guys will figure out what band it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah. I think also, with you, Timmy, is like you're learning a lot about the creative. I think at the core of JV is that it's like we all have, really good soft skills. Like we know how to talk to people. We charm, but we don't do it with bad intention. It comes authentically. And I think, clients experience companies that, it feels like a transaction. It feels very businessy. I can't say this. I can't do that. I mean, the fact that we just, like a big thing for us, we, handshakes into hugs,
Got a hug.
we kind of just go for it.
You've been hugging.
So you have been rubbing off on me.
Yeah. So like, I think it's those little things that people can kind of see. And I think also when someone's never maybe worked with a company, and I'm not saying we're the only ones that do this. I'm sure there's a lot of companies that have the same mindset, and whether they execute it is up to them. But until they touch that boiling kettle, they don't know. Oof. Is that episode 5? Circle back.
Nice.
But it's like until you experience a company that gave you that feeling of like, wow, you delivered the product, which is most important, but like the experience, it's almost like you want them to be like, I can never go back. And I think that is like, take that to the grave. Like we want to leave a lasting impression, whether it's the first project or our last project working together,
Right.
of like leave on a good note. That JV Studios crew, man, their energy, they're excited, they care.
They treat us like family. That's what I mean. I did want to pivot into that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Part of the JV experience, right, is that you guys are brothers. The JV is bonded by blood, right? And then everyone that we work with, crew or client alike, it's become part of the JV family. Like, I'm honored to be in the JV family, right? And
T in studio.
And yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And
He is the T, by the way.
And then every client and every relationship we get, it's like, hey, you're like our sister, you're like our brother, like that's what's so cool. I feel like with, the actual company, and then we just embody that with our clients, right? Looking at it and it's like, hey, if you were my sister, or you were my mom, or you were my dad, or you're my brother, how would I take care of them, right? And by looking at it that way, sure, could we charge a little bit more here or there? Probably, but are we going to just ultimately be better in the long run because we're giving someone an awesome value, an awesome service, as if they're our own family?
Yeah.
So
and I think even like when even on a general contractor or stuff at your house, or when you hired a good service but you got a good price and a good service, you're just like, I'm not calling anyone else. I'll never forget, like for my wedding, I hired this DJ.
Yeah.
And he was in the industry. I knew him. And not only did we, obviously we were able to meet on a good price point that felt good for both of us and honoring, but his energy and excitement, I was like, dude, anytime someone's going to get married, I'm recommending you. So like, that is how we want to be for other clients. Why would you not? Right. And it's unfortunate when you go back to losing those jobs of like, that client didn't get to have that experience. But again, it comes down to value. Do they value that? Do they care? Some people may not care about some people mean business. Some people just want to pound the pavement, head down, get the job done. Kind of militant with it. That's not who we are. And maybe that's why things don't work out. I think we attract similar and like-minded contractors and clients.
Yeah. And we love it. We don't trade it for anything.
Yeah. Whatever we do, I know we do it from the heart, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we could talk about the JV experience for hours and hours, but I think that gives a little peek behind the scenes of the JV experience and what we really embody here. So thank you guys all for listening to episode 8 of season 3, and we will be in touch and hopefully talk to you guys again soon.